Hey friends, happy Tuesday. I just want to check in here and see how you guys are doing. Yesterday, I had a conversation with several friends, and I know that they are just feeling down right now. And it's weird to have the blues in the middle of summertime, right? You think of that as being this winter kind of feeling and attitude, but I want to let you know that whatever you're feeling, it's okay. It's okay. You are a human being, and you were made to feel. So just let yourself feel all the feels. And the truth is that feeling means you're alive, and being alive is a really beautiful thing, even when you're angry. So I want to share a little story about what happened to me over the 4th of July holiday. And if I'm being honest, I'm being really, really vulnerable here. But I think it's important for you to understand that coaching can help you process the highs and lows of the emotions that come with you, right? Coaching isn't about solving your problems or making your life look perfect. No, your life is yours and it needs to look like yours. But coaching provides you with tools, and it equips you with these tools that you can pull out at any moment and put into practice. And that makes those highs not so extreme, and it makes those lows not so extreme, so that you find this steady, even keel where life just feels comfortable, right? It's full of joy and peace and calm and clarity. And I've been sharing that analogy of the highs and lows with people recently, so I wanted to share it with you. So here's the thing. Over the 4th of July holiday, I found myself angry, like beyond angry. Like I haven't been this angry since pre-divorce, which was 6 years ago, you guys. And I was like, whoa, what is going on, sister? And if I'm being really honest with you, the thing I was mad about was so petty. So I'm gonna share. Okay, lean in close. Yep, a little bit closer. I was mad that my sister was sleeping in my bed at our lake house. Like, how petty is that, right? My sister was sleeping in my bed, right? She has her own bed, but no, she chose my bed, and it infuriated me. And so I did 4 things. I say 3 because I asked myself 3 questions, but I did 4 things that really, really helped me to process that anger. And I want to share those 4 things with you in hopes that when anger arises, these tools, these questions will help you too. So the first thing I did when I found myself stewing, right? I didn't make a scene with my sister. I didn't fight back. I didn't argue. I didn't get in her face, because let me tell you, life happens, and I wanted to get all up in her face, and I wanted to point my finger, and I wanted to tell her how wrong she was and how dare she. But I knew instinctively that gets me nowhere. So instead, I chose to go lay in another room and on another bed. But as I laid there, I stewed. Has that ever happened to you before? Like, you have a thought, you get a little bit irritated, and then you focus on it. And the more you stew, it's almost like that thought snowballs, and suddenly it's out of control, and you're telling yourself this gigantic story where you've made a mountain out of a molehill, and suddenly it's you versus the world. How many of you have ever done that? I am so guilty of that. I used to pick fights with my husband, and I realized that I was picking fights over things. He had no idea what I was thinking in my head, right? But like, it was the story I'd created. The story wasn't real. And that's what I realized I was doing the night I got mad at my sister for sleeping in my bed. I laid there and I stewed for probably 15, 20 minutes. And by the time I was at my height, I was so angry. And then it hit me. Sister, you have the tools. I know how to handle this. Just put those things that you tell everyone else to do, put them into practice. You got to practice what you preach, right? In the coaching world, we call it walking the talk. The things we speak about, we have to be willing to walk that walk ourselves. So the first thing I did, and what I encourage you to do, is just take a deep breath. Maybe 3 deep breaths. You see, whenever our emotions are getting the best of us, it alters the chemical reaction in our brain. And when you take 3 deep breaths, you can, again, change that chemical reaction. So our adrenaline is increasing the more and more frustrated we get. And when you take 3 deep breaths, you can drop that adrenaline level. You can calm your mind and react from a much more healthy, calm, peaceful state. It doesn't mean that you just roll over and take whatever's happening. Instead, it means that you can attack it and respond from a healthy place. So the first thing I did as I was laying there was I took 3 deep breaths. As simple as that, just a big breath in through the nose You can even sigh it out if you want. Yeah, just like that. It makes such a difference. And then I asked myself 3 really important questions. The first question was this: why are you mad? Why are you mad? And I think it's important for you to ask yourself that question and really to identify it, because as I mentioned, for me, that story had snowballed. So at the point my story had snowballed, it was no longer about my sister sleeping in my bed. It was like, my family treats me terribly. Like, you guys, I'm telling you, I'm being very, very honest with you, that my thoughts were insane at that point. Oh, we got an ambulance driving by. I don't know if you can hear it. But I had to ask myself, can you hear that? Oh, it went. Okay. I had to ask myself, why am I really mad? I had to really get a grasp on what the situation was, right? What was the actual situation, not the story that I told myself. And I was able to identify in that moment, after I took some deep breaths, that I'm mad my sister's in my bed. And once I said it, you guys, I wanted to laugh. I wanted to be like, that's why you're mad? That's why you're mad? Like, it felt so petty, and it feels so shameful to share that with you. But I want to, in hopes that it teaches you to get to the root cause of why you're mad. Like, what's that underlying thing? Or what's that first thing, right, that started the snowball effect? Sometimes it can be really silly. Somebody didn't use their blinker in traffic. Somebody didn't text you back in an hour. Like, we can get worked up over some of the smallest things, which leads me to question number 2. And this one's really important. And you have to be honest with yourself. It's a hard question. Is that really why you're mad? That's it. That's the question. Is that really what you're mad at? Is that why you're mad? When I asked myself that question, I realized, no, I'm not mad at my sister sleeping in my bed. That seems so silly. But it was something deeper, and I could feel it. It was like this instinctual thing where I'm like, no, there's something under this that was the trigger. That was the thing that set me off. That's the thing that brought my emotions to the surface, but that's not why I'm mad. That's not why I'm mad. So you have to ask yourself that. Is this really what I'm mad about? So that you can understand, is this a surface level thing, or do I need to dig a little bit deeper? Do I need to get under the surface and see if there's something boiling down here, right? And then the third question you ask yourself is, how do I play a role in this anger, in this scenario, in this situation? Am I really mad at me? Is it possible that the person I'm really mad at is me, and I'm projecting my anger onto my sister? Ugh. Let me tell you, when I asked that, I was like, oh, Lord, I didn't want to answer it. Because what I discovered in digging deeper and recognizing that I wasn't just mad at my sister, there was something else going on. And then digging even deeper into how do I play a role in this anger, what I realized is that I was mad at myself for allowing boundaries to be crossed, right? It seems so simple, like my sister slept in my bed. But what I discovered in my process of just journaling through this, asking myself the hard questions, sitting with what came up, and guys, this can happen in a matter of 5 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour, but allowing myself to process this and really ask the questions, is that I was frustrated because ever since my divorce, I have not held boundaries in place for me, and I've shrunk back, and I've been really, really small. And in that moment that my sister slept in my bed, I felt so small, like as if I didn't even matter to my family. Whose fault is that? Is that my family's fault? No, it's mine for not speaking up, for not sharing how I was feeling, for not asking them to hear me, asking them to see me, for making myself be seen, right? Instead, I had slowly begun to shrink back and back and back until I was so small that I felt insignificant and I felt like I didn't matter to my family. That was the source of my anger. Not that my sister slept in my bed. That just brought it all to the surface. So I encourage you, when anger arises, to do those 4 things. First, just take a couple deep breaths so that you can address the situation or scenario from a really healthy space, maybe a much more peaceful space rather than an adrenaline-charged space. And then be willing to ask yourself and sit with the answers that come up for you for those 3 questions. First, what am I mad at? What's the situation? Don't go to that snowballed story that you're telling yourself, but like, what was that trigger? What set off my anger? And then ask yourself, is that really what I'm mad at? That's the second question. Is that really what I'm mad at? Or maybe is there something deeper there? And then the third question is, how do I play a role in this anger? What role do I play? Is it possible that I'm mad at myself and projecting my anger? When you do that, it makes the whole scenario much more easy to navigate. Because here's the thing, life is gonna happen, but these coaching tools can help you to navigate it with ease. So if you've ever experienced this, I want you to try it the next time anger arises for you and let me know how it turns out. Until then, so much love and gratitude. I'll see you guys soon.